Ну что ж, всем привет, с вами ThebyVittor, мы сейчас играем Starfield. Продолжаем прохождение за Vanguard и так далее. Мгм. Так, что у нас за задача? Задача у нас встретиться с Адрианой. Мгм. Гамбит Юнон. Это я вчера что-то там выполнял. Я эклиптика уничтожал корабль, ну да. Какое-то задание вылезло, опять же. Ну ладно, с Адрианой еще встретимся. У нас фракции Авангард. Я прокачал пилотирование до максималочки, по-моему. Ну я как раз, да. Угу. Один этот оставил, очко навыка в одну оставил. Чтобы как раз прокачать сразу. И хорошо. Пилотирование на макс. Можем корабли С-класса забирать себе. Здесь много чего качать нужно. Здесь я не знаю какой. 75-й, по-моему, максимальный. Ну, то, что я заметил. 75-я планета уровня 75-го. По-моему, максимальная. Но я не знаю. Здесь перки прокачать возможно вообще? За 75 уровней. Не знаю. Нужно смотреть, и нужно очень прям много опыта. Это прям удвоение нужно опыта. А за задание что-то прям мало дают.
They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him ThebyVittor, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come.
Наклон. Это интересно, интересно. Так, это впечатляющим командиром. Захотел я планировать. Да ладно, давайте развивать события.
I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like
Окей,
our cue.
поехали.
Here we go.
Поехали. Кабинет министров. Убить бы сейчас чашечку кофе. Кто убивает чашечку кофе? Зачем? Зачем ее убивать? Ее выпить нужно. Вот сюда нужно, да? Ага, хорошо. Нам тоже тут стать нужно или как? Шо вы, головы? Как дела? Вон, ты смотри, у нее имплант есть. Этого мужичка нету, в этой нету. Ну, причесочка, конечно, странная. А что ты думаешь? Как дела? Нормально все? Хорошо.
Ah, welcome.
Это,
You
походу,
must be the
надолго, да?
captain Hadrian mentioned in her
Они
report.
будут
You have
разговаривать.
our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium.
I would also ask how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require. Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
I can second, Madam President. What I saw from the report reinforces the idea that this was an anomalous spawning. The other factions are as at risk as we are.
Huh. A fine point, Dr. Kulkarni. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However, if that's the path forward you prefer, then so be it.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Опа, какой-то инцидент. А почему ей не понравилось? Мне вот это непонятно.
Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
Да что происходит? Нападение террорморфов стопудово.
At the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Ну, я так и говорил, в принципе.
More attacks. Just as
А чё ей не понравилось? Если вы делаете террорморфы, блять, нападают, почему ей не понравилось? Что за прикол? Почему эти данные должны быть там? Блять, такое ощущение, будто они все архивы открывают и такой, ебать, я спизжу всю информацию.
Chief Sarkin,
Ладно.
order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
Да. Президент. Поехали. Ну поехали. Ну, конечно. Сейчас будем валить. Шо вы, ребята, идите охраняйте президента. Я поехал, ё-моё. Космопорт. Защищать людей. Что случилось? А шо? А ничего. Превращаются или что? Не понял. Собрать М оружие? То есть оно такое? Шо, блин? Какая-то дичь вообще. Подожди, собрать М оружие, где оно? Так а нахер оно мне нужно? Оснаститься, ну что за задание? ЕМ, это чтоб никого типа не повредить? Типа, чтоб никого не убить, я так понимаю. Ладненько, тогда возьмем мы М оружие. А с этим побыстрее будет, конечно. Да давай, блин. Подожди, где у нас? Нам нужно этой дать оружие тоже. Подожди, она взяла его? Не, ни хера она не взяла. Давай его возьмем, а то мы сейчас заруиним все задание, блин. Так, оружие. Это ж ее, да? Инвентарь. Энергический. Вот такой вот мы и поставим. Там сколько? Ой, блин, я его себе взял. Ну что за дела? Вечно путаюсь. Где оно там, блин? Вот это, да? Обменять? Ее оружие? Или это не ее? Подожди, это мое. Вот это ее. М оружие 20. У него, кстати, эквинокс нормально, на 29, у меня всего лишь 20. Или 10 там, подожди. Физическое. Ага. Ставим, короче, вот этот. Б экипировать. Хорошо. А то сейчас заруинит все. Нам вообще убивать типа нельзя.
Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them. The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Ну так мы идем. Блин, жестко. Некоторые особи влияют на подсознание, так сказать. Захватывать себе жертву, и все, они как зомбаки. Это жестко, жестко. Ребята, а как дела у вас? Да не стой на напарнике, ну что ты его вот это, ну вот это все, да. Напарнику плохо, он на него встал. Нормально. Так, окей. Блин, слушай, даже эта миссия и то такая, блин. Ну, интересненько, интересненько. Окей, добивайте, парни, добивайте его. Он приходит в себя. Так, вот сейчас нам нужно взять уже огневое какое-то. Да, бляха, куда ты выпустил? Блин, за авангард тоже, кстати, интересно играть. На данный момент. Да сюда иди, ну что ты? Воу, что он пустил? Да иди сюда, блин, что ты до них доебался-то? .36 уровня, на минуточку. Шо, мощно въебал по тебе? Конечно, как ты хотел. Минус. Бля, я опять набрал кучу всякой херни. Это шо? Питательное вещество.
Wait, officer? Are you and this woman experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, but we're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, got one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking...
Бляха, с какой нагрузкой? Где она взялась?
Over any more, my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Нападение террорморфов, бляха. Очевидец. Необходимо поговорить с группой пожарных. Где пожарные? Вот это, да?
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here, but we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you.
Окей. С кем-то еще нужно? Нет. Больше ни с кем не нужно. Террорморф 24 уровня. Ну, это уже будет полегче будет. Сюда иди. Пиздюк. В жопку прям. Ну, его лицо на жопку похоже, реально. Голос, какой-то голос, что за херня? Токсин, генетический материал пришельцев. Нужно было миниган взять. Слушай, реально было бы интересно. Нахер. Так, окей, есть. Блин, а он тяжелый, этот генетический материал. А в новое не закидывает. Где он? А где этот генетический материал? Странно, куда-то идет этот генетический материал пришельца, и все равно. Ну ладно.
If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Так, ну что, Сара, поехали дальше. Что-то там еще будет, наверное. Ну чё, нельзя было в сюжете такое сделать? Ну там была одна эта миссия, типа мы там убегали и так далее. Ну и то, типа, не таких масштабов.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Блин, что за хрень? Почему опять перевес? Генетический материал пришельца, но его здесь нету. Очень странная тема. Бля, вообще нужно все ресурсы, блин, перекинуть на корабль куда-то. У меня же есть грузовой, типа, корабль. Вот на него нужно все закинуть. Хотя, смотря, конечно. Но все перемещается, по-моему, вместе с тем, который ты корабль выберешь. Не знаю, короче. Вроде перемещается весь инвентарь на другой корабль. Ну, зато уже С-класса будет кораблик. Да, они дорогие, блин. Но нужно посмотреть. Может, открылись там в космопорте какие-то С-классы, потому что... А, ну там у него были С-классы. Может, что-то новое появилось просто.
Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
You've got the cabinet's full
Captain?
backing to prevent more attacks.
Hadrian,
Understand?
it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Losing anyone in the line of duty is a tragedy.
I'm gonna
These
go check
attacks,
in with Chief Engineer
they
Kulkarni.
can't happen
Start
again.
getting a plan together for that favor.
There are so many different groups across the settled systems, it's hard to keep up with all of them.
Так, окей. Такие друзья. Ну, такие они. Такие, да. Привет.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second in command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct? Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varoon? Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
If Sam is any example of how stubborn the Freestar people can be, then I can imagine how difficult it must be dealing with this ambassador.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Captain. Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varoon retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varoon thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Well said. There's no reason to assume they're any worse than us, despite their cultural beliefs.
Of course, but there is another wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
It would at least be a speedier negotiation. But I, of course, hope the ambassador is alive and well.
Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Так, хорошо. Хорошо, она где вообще? Где-то здесь, да? Подожди, Такие друзья. Приобретение архивного кода коллектива Freestar. Я думал, какие-то еще метки дадут. Ну ладно, пока здесь. Погнали. Очень странно. Я думал, нам куда-то отправиться нужно будет.
Sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar Affairs office before I can... You are a visitor? You'll find the ambassador in our lobby.
Visitors are only allowed. I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestyle
Здорово.
Collective. But you need, and I'll follow.
The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Конечно, должен, но ты как хочешь.
I'm
Хотела.
sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? No, Captain, I'm not, and I'll tell you why. What you experienced down there at the spaceport, I've lived that once before already. Fought tooth and nail as aliens rampaged in the streets of my home and others all throughout the collective. But my aliens were placed there by UC hands. So I'm not interested in anyone getting power like that ever again. The UC most of all. You have my answer. Now please take the hint. You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. You think this is about a grudge? This is about safety, and that's not something I take lightly. Working on borrowed time, aren't we? Londinian. They had to abandon the planet. But that couldn't happen again. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terramorphs. The monitors will make sure of it. You go in once, you get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Ну, какие же упертые, блин, ну это писец, ну ё-моё. Ну типа, ну понятно, что там условия, блин. Ну а кто... Ладно, забейте эту херню, по-моему. Никто ж не говорил, что там полные данные всем нужны, блин. Только с терраморфами, как с ними бороться, и все, блин. Террор-морфы, да. Террор-морфы.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Code generator's just this way. Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate the necessary oversights. Two unlikely allies, I guess.
Спасибенько, спасибенько. Так, приобрести архивный дом Варун. Они что, все в одном месте находятся или что? Ой, это чья-то комната. Извиняюсь, конечно. Тупо за стеночкой, да? Подожди, в этот нужно. Вестибюль, вестибюль. А это где-то тоже здесь? Ну да. Тю, я думал... Я думал, они где-то в другой, там, не знаю, на другой планете. Они все в Джеймисоне. Окей, ну хоть никуда летать не нужно. А что у них здесь произошло? Что никто здесь давно, видимо, не убирал. Охренеть. И как у них может быть доступ к чему-то вообще? Какие-то странные ребята, блин. Все заброшено. Это посольство, вы серьезно? Вот это называют посольством, да?
It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy.
Нас сейчас чем-то накачают, я думаю.
I've never seen a tree like this before in my entire life. It'd actually be more fascinating if its branches weren't blocking the road.
И это еще кто-то называет посольством? Вы шо нахуй? Они вот это серьезно? Это супер. Супер тупо. Ебать, что у них вообще здесь происходит? Так, что-то я не то изначально использовал. Угу. Так, окей. Нет сигнала? Ну да, я же ее разъебашил. Куда нам дальше? Куда-то выше нужно. Сюдой вроде. Вроде сюдой. Вот это посольство, блин. Охрененное посольство, вообще просто пушка. Какая-то херня здесь. Жесть, блин. Так, ладно, давай взламывать. Так, вот здесь не работает. Как-то можно, да? Вот здесь его. И вот это здесь. А вот это вот так. Блин, они... Нихера. О, нормальненько. Вот это. Потом подойдет, подходит, и вот это, значит. Окей. Так. Да блин, все взломать нужно. Идите в жопу. Иди в жопу. Не хочу я все взломать. Так, а где здесь вниз спуститься? Как мы и заходили или как? Вот здесь, наверное. А, не, подожди. Сейчас нам вниз нужно. Зачем мы тогда вверх поднимались? Что это еще за роботы такие?
Find anything useful?
О, здравствуй.
What seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss.
Испытание просто. Просто было испытание.
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door, hmm? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably, hmm? Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
As the chair of Constellation, I take personal responsibility in vouching for this man's integrity. He'll keep his word.
Well then, I shall not fear. Please, follow me.
Так, какие я думал, это будет сложнее, конечно, но как бы не очень. Проверка холодильничка на возможность похавать. О, это можем взять. Спасибо.
Let it be used for good.
Хорош. Так смотри, их даже не то что украсть, их можно просто взять. Блин, ну вес, конечно, писец.
Will we all be so lucky next? The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is all there is to be said on the subject.
Ладно, отправляемся. Здесь лифт какой-то есть вообще? Или нам так и придется бежать? Почему здесь нету лифта?
I'm here. I'll be counting the minutes to our next chat.
Кладовой Варуна. А у него есть здесь ключ-карта? Может, где-то есть? Блин, может быть, можно было где-то найти. Ладно, давай попробуем переместиться, может, возможно. Ну, хоть возможность перемещения осталась. То в некоторых зданиях нельзя перемещаться. Окей.
Captain, can I help you?
Pardon.
Здорово.
Captain, you're back sooner than... Oh, wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? We're all in agreement.
Ну, вообще-то да.
You saved him. You Vanguard really do take that above and beyond thing seriously, don't you? Fine work. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?
Отчет в архив перемирия. Где это? Вестибюль, ага. Да, и где-то на другом конце города, да? Где метка? Блин, как обычно, как обычно.
Keeping the skies safe out there?
Так, окей. И еще куда? Еще 200 этих загрузочных экранов подождать. Окей. Ага. 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 Так, вставляем. Вставляем. И еще где? Ага, вот здесь тоже. Вставляем. Хорошо. Спасибо. Иду. Архив GM какой-то. Еще F какой-то архив. Там тоже что-то интересное, наверное. Вот это блок 18. Все, я закончил. Можете закрывать. Либо мне нужно закрывать. Все, типа. Да и так оставили, это пускай будет открытым, типа. Какая разница? 8200 можно продать этот предмет. А это куда? Куда-то под низ нужно? Ни хера непонятно. Возврат данных. Куда, блять, их вернуть вообще? Почему-то туда... Хуя себе метка хорошая, бля. И я прям такой, вкусно, вкусно, хорошо. Чтоб меня запутать. Да всех может так запутать, слушай. Все, давайте уже закончим задание.
Captain, if you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers, and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready. Yes. It will be. Percival and I have done our damage. This is us starting to put some things right. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
А зачем здесь так сильно это гражданство? Что-то я не понимаю вообще. Что они прям про это гражданство постоянно говорят. Такое ощущение, это очень прям обязательно. Без этого ты даже срать не сядешь в общественном туалете. Ладненько. А мне двери открыть? Так красиво, красиво, я здесь уже был. Красиво. Наверное. Я бы, конечно, так не сказал, но... Потому что очень все пусто. Ну, короче.
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies? Well, only citizens can own property in New Atlantis. We also pay a discounted rate at any United Colonies merchant. And all citizens receive an ample credit disbursement upon joining.
Чтоб можно было квартиру здесь иметь, нужно гражданство, блях. Понятно.
Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen? Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position. Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the Terramorphs. and they've stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name. So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms?
Спасибо, но не надо.
Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
Еще 14 тысяч дали. Неплохо. Слушай, и гражданство получили, 14 тысяч получили. Там еще 3 дали. Короче, неплохо, неплохо. Неплохо. А где-то там можно за этот квартиру купить. Я это пропустил. Она что-то там говорила. Я это пропустил. Деятельность. Вход в эксплуатацию новой. Новая усадьба, это не то. Вот, покорить взоры в офисе Affilion Realty. Окей. Это уже потом, в следующей части. Купим квартирку. Только интересно, почем и... короче, посмотрим. Ну что ж, на этом все. Всем спасибо за просмотр. С вами был я, ThebyVittor. Всем пока-пока.